Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, or if it's afternoon where you are. I'm especially excited to welcome members of the Latino Tax Professionals Association. I understand we have some members on the call today. By way of introduction, my name is Laura Nelson. I'm Director of Marketing at Broadly.com, where we collaborate with local businesses, including tax and accounting professionals, on their online presence and their client reviews. So every day, I talk with businesses like yours on these topics of standing out online, on leveraging your online reputation to attract more clients. That's what we're going to talk about today, how to position yourself and your business to differentiate yourself among the H&R Blocks of the world, to build trust in your communities, to attract new clients, the type of clients that you want to build and grow your business. We'll also talk about how you should think about your marketing budget, how you can proactively invest in growing word of mouth online and in your communities. My goal is to give you some concrete takeaways so that you can put them into practice right after this presentation. With that, let's get started. I want to cover a couple of housekeeping items up front. If you're not familiar with the GoToWebinar software, there's a questions panel on the right about halfway down. Use this questions feature to interact with me. I'm going to try to answer your questions throughout if something's unclear, but I'll certainly use that at the end as well. I'm leaving some time for Q&A. So if you haven't found that panel, this is what it looks like in GoToWebinar. Next, I get this question often. Yes, we are recording today's session, so you will receive that recording after the session is over if you want to play it back or share it with others. Finally, find us on Twitter. Our handle is GetBroadly. We use the same one on Facebook as well. Reach me directly at laura@broadly.com. I'll also post my contact information at the end, just in case you have some follow-up questions. That covers us for the housekeeping items today. I want to jump right into the content now. And first, start with you. Here you are. You're a busy professional. Maybe you've been in business for years and maybe you have a huge book of clientele. You could just be starting out, however, and looking to land your first few clients soon. In any scenario, you've got office, you've got a staff perhaps, maybe you've got rent or a mortgage. You've got bills to pay. Additionally, you all know that the success of your tax prep or of your accountancy business hinges on your clientele. You've invested years in getting an education, building your practice, learning the ins and outs of your profession, but you may not get enough time to dedicate to it these days. I'm assuming, like other business owners, you might even just be spending half of your time serving clients. Some studies suggest even less time than that. Local business owners like you don't get enough time to interact with clients and do what you do best. We know that you're spending your time elsewhere, working with your staff, collecting accounts payable, and trying to grow and retain your client base. So that last one really is key. Many of you will say referrals, word of mouth, they bring you your best clients in your community, but there may not be enough of that. So how do you drive more word of mouth? How do you get your happy clients talking about your services and your business? It all starts with understanding your clients. Let's take a look at a typical client. At Broadly, we look at these end consumers through the lens of customer personas like these. As a marketer, I like to think of customers like this one, of clients like this one, we'll call Elsie, as a modern consumer. So Elsie is a typical modern consumer of 2017. She's married, she lives in Santa Barbara, California. She owns a house, she has a couple kids. She works full-time as a school teacher. She's involved in the PTA, shuttling her kids to practices, tutoring sessions, and so forth. So you might find that Elsie resembles you in many ways, or she certainly resembles your average client. Elsie is very well connected. If she needs an answer to an everyday question, she's starting with Google. If she's looking for a restaurant to trek out, she may start her search with Yelp. If she's booking a vacation for herself or her family, she's not going to make any decisions before checking out TripAdvisor. As you well know already, the reality is today the internet is in our pockets. We no longer have to be tech savvy to utilize it to answer our everyday problems and questions. So when someone like Elsie or you or I need to solve a problem, find a local business, whether that's a pediatric dentist for our kids, a pool service company in our area, or a tax professional or accountant like you, we're asking our friends, our family for recommendations, or we may turn to our smartphones or our computers. So we're not alone in this regard. In fact, most people, they're starting their search online. 80% of consumers are going online and using search engines like Google to find local information. So let's walk through what this looks like for that modern consumer, for Elsie. You've seen this before. It's a familiar screen, whether you're on a mobile device, a laptop, an iPad, or something else. So we search on Google. We use this screen when we have a need or a problem we want solved. So let's say Elsie's looking for help with her taxes in Santa Barbara. She isn't sure who to call. She's going to dial up Google, and she's going to perform a search just like this. So what happens next? When you do this kind of search in Google, toward the top, you'll see a map with 3 choices. We call this the Google 3-pack. You'll see a bunch of links alongside this map as well. You might see some ads. You'll definitely see some organic search results below this 3-pack. So if you're to type in the category of your business, tax prep, accountancy, etc., and your area, then hopefully you're showing up in this 3-pack or just below it. Your competitors certainly will. So take a look at this example in Santa Barbara. At first blush, it looks like all of these options are relatively equal. But when you take a closer look, something stands out. Not all 5-star businesses look the same. That middle choice stands out because 22 people have rated that a 5-star business, as opposed to the other choices that have just gotten 1 or 2 pieces of feedback. So if you're the typical modern consumer like Elsie, your eyes are drawn to that choice with a high rating, with a lot of reviews. So you may start your search with Santa Barbara Tax and Accounting Services. So as I described, reviews help differentiate that choice. So what are these stars? How do you get them? These are the reviews written by Google users. They're the people who have Google accounts like Gmail. You may be wondering, how do I get a client to go here and write me a review? Now, this is hard, but it's not impossible. So these reviews, again, super important to consumers, to your prospective clients. The reason for that is consumer opinion is driving decision-making. 88% of people are trusting online reviews written by other consumers just as much as they're trusting that referral that they get from their actual friends or from their family. So in other words, what you and I are learning about local businesses on Google, on Yelp, on Facebook, That's just as important to us as what our friends are saying. So reviews matter. If you're a 5-star business, reviews are helping you to drive revenue. You may be wondering, how do I compete in that type of environment? How do I play a proactive role when this feels a little bit out of my control? That's what I want to talk about today. In today's environment, it's increasingly important to build a stellar online reputation that matches the quality of services that you provide. You can become part of that process. So how do you get there? The internet's complicated and the world is changing, and you'll have to deal with Google and other websites. There are algorithms that have search results. You can't quite nail them down, but I do know there are some things that you can do to give yourself a powerful boost in a really cost-effective way. So a huge piece of that is investing in word-of-mouth marketing. We'll get to what that investment means in a few minutes. But first, I want to cover some of the fundamentals. If you haven't done anything, this is where I want you to start. Standing out online and getting great client reviews to work for your business requires a proactive effort to improve your presence on these pages. These are the most important pages for your business. What are they? They are your Google business listing. They are your Yelp profile. It includes your Facebook business page. It also includes your website. All of these pages working together form a strong foundation for your business's online presence. So you may be thinking, hey, I don't read reviews and it doesn't matter. I want to reinforce the point that your clients are reading reviews, and so are the clients that you're trying to attract. What's more, if they get a recommendation from a friend, they're still going to look you up on Google to learn more. So nothing's going to rival these pages in terms of getting found and chosen by that client you're trying to attract. This is where the eyeballs are online today. So let's talk about Google. For starters, most people are familiar with how to use Google. We went through that local search example for Elsie. But if you're a business owner and you're trying to stand out online, the mechanics of Google are more complex. There are fundamental things that you can do that will ensure that your business is found, though, and chosen in a local search. I want to stress why that's important. Even one minor change on your Google listing can give you a really powerful boost. So Google's data here suggests that if you add just your business hours to your listing, you can boost click-throughs to your website by 42%. That's the goal, right? To get more prospective clients to visit your website to learn more about you and your services. When I talk about the Google business listing, let's take a look at what that looks like. So check this out on the right side. This is your typical Google listing. It's free. It's provided by Google to help you, the business owner, connect to local consumers. It literally puts you on the map. So almost every business has a Google listing, and if you don't think you have one, it might look just like this. It has a street photo of your location, maybe a little bit of information that Google is guessing to be true, but it's generally a blank slate. So this listing enables you to provide more information about your business. You can add photos, you can verify your address, your phone number, you can suggest changes to Google's data, such as your business hours, which I mentioned, and you can show off client reviews. Every business owner has the opportunity to claim this listing or create one if it doesn't exist today. So what happens if you do claim that? What does that look like once you've made those improvements? So let's check out Santa Barbara Tax and Accounting Services and gain an understanding of why it is ranking so well in that local search. Note they provided additional information that provides context about that client experience. They've added photos of their location. They've generated 22 Google reviews. They've collected reviews from Facebook, which are reflecting in this listing as well. They're offering prospective clients a reason to consider them, to choose them. So I want to talk about the number of Google reviews they have and how many you should have. I get this question a lot. The answer really depends on your local area and what your competition's pages look like. You may need more than 22 to compete in your area. The first couple reviews, they're always suspect. We know they come from family and from friends. So you're going to need more than that. You're going to need real feedback from your real clients so that you can stand out and shine. But by getting the basics right, you're going to be more likely to attract visitors to your website and get calls to your business. So the same actually holds true for Yelp. I want to touch upon your Yelp page next. I'm going to wager that some of you have experience with Yelp. And you may think in your business, in your category, you might not need a presence on Yelp. But in reality, ignoring it is going to cost you too much in terms of lost clients. People are looking to Yelp to get recommendations, even on businesses like yours. But I want to clear up something today. There is this common misconception that you need to pay Yelp in order to build a strong profile. And that's simply not true. So I want to walk through what are the things that you can and should be doing on your profile in order to put your best foot forward. First, underscoring the importance of Yelp. The data proves that Yelp is the most popular review site. Over 100 million unique users are coming to their platform each and every month. That's a big user base. Second, the platform hosts 135 million reviews. You may think none of them pertain to you, but they actually do. Finally, you may think of Yelp as a platform for restaurants, and certainly that is their most popular category. However, people are writing about home services and local businesses just like yours in astounding numbers. Nearly 19 million of those reviews are about businesses like yours in local service categories. So Yelp does matter to your target clients. Here's how you should take advantage. As I mentioned, you can take advantage of your Yelp profile for free. And here's a good example of what that page looks like once it's claimed and once it's improved. Just as with Google, you can claim your page for free. You can provide a bio and photos and additional content on your page. You can add your hours, your address, your website, your contact info. These are all free aspects that give your target consumer, your target client, a heads up on what you're all about. You don't need to pay Yelp to do any of these things on your page, and you can't pay Yelp to get the part that matters most, which is your client reviews. Remember, this is why people are going to Yelp in the first place. It's perhaps the most popular review site, and they're going to read your reviews. So make sure they're good ones. I want to take you behind the scenes and show you what this looks like on the back end. When you claim your Yelp listing, you're going to gain access to your page statistics as well. This is that initial dashboard that you'll see. To access this from biz.yelp.com, that's biz.yelp.com. So this includes a summary of what's happening on your page, front and center. Shows the number of visitors your page is getting. So pay attention to that. And below that graph, you see a stream of what's happening with each and every user. It includes who's visited your page, what are their demographics that the platform knows and will share with you, and where are they going from your page. On the left side, you're going to see a number of options. This is where you can update your business information, such as your hours, your website. You can add those photos here as well. And you can see all of your reviews here. It's about halfway down that tab that says reviews. Check that out. This is the most important area of the page. This is where you can view and you can respond to your Yelp reviews. So as I mentioned, I talk to business owners all the time who think they need to pay Yelp for this kind of access. However, this account, this is Broadly's page from a couple months ago. We don't advertise with Yelp, and we don't need to in order to build a solid online reputation on the platform. I want to switch gears now and talk about Facebook. You probably already have a personal account and might be wondering, okay, how does an accountant or tax pro engage effectively on a platform like Facebook? Maybe using it for something else. Hey, it's football season. I've got to keep track of my fantasy team. Or I love Facebook for keeping track of my kids. So where does my business really fit in? Here's why Facebook is important, just as important to you, the business owner, as it is in other aspects of your life. 76% of Facebook users are logging in daily. It's part of their daily routine. That is astounding. Millions and millions of users. As of May of this year, 70 million small businesses have active pages on the platform. Not just because they want to or it's a good thing to do, but they're looking at the number above that and going where the consumer activity is. Perhaps most importantly on this page, 60% of Facebook users like at least one business page. So what does that mean for you and your business? People are increasingly relying on Facebook to learn more about who they're doing business with and who their friends will recommend. So you're going to need a page for all of these conversations to refer back to. As with Google and Yelp, every business can set up a page on Facebook for free. You can take advantage of the basic features like adding photos, listing your hours, including your contact info, and your website for free. You may have done that already. However, I want to point out that Facebook has gotten increasingly complex over the years. They've expanded their offerings for business owners like you. So you can now message directly with prospective and current clients through your page on Facebook. Additionally, you can add call to action button. Note that this example has a call now button. You can add appointment schedulers on your page as well. You can leverage your page to convert browsers to paying clients. Interestingly enough, you can also get reviews and recommendations. You saw that 5-star review on the previous page, but I also want to point out recommendations, which are increasingly popular on the platform. You might have seen this feature at work in your own newsfeed. People are using Facebook to get recommendations, and they're listening to what their friends are saying. So it's critical to build that 5-star reputation to match that recommendation. After all, your page is what commenters like Rob here are going to refer their friends back to. So it's even better when you have that 5-star stamp of approval, as Butler Tax and Accounting does in this example. All of that to say, don't sleep on Facebook. Pay attention to this. This is another way for you and your business to be present and relevant, where your clients are hanging out and telling their friends about businesses and people that they trust. So we've covered some of the basics on important consumer pages like Google, like Yelp, like Facebook. And all of these pages, if they're set up correctly, they're going to tie back to your website. They're going to link directly to your website. So your website is still critical as part of this mix, as part of your online presence. This is your business's home online. This is where you have full control over your story. So get it right. I just want to talk about a couple things, a couple of the most important elements of a strong tax and accountancy website. There's lots of different approaches you can take as you design and develop your website, but there's a few underlying commonalities that you should all be striving for. First, be sure that your website's inviting. Photography makes a world of difference. So show off your hometown or show off your team. Second, make sure that you create an easy to follow navigation on the top. Okay, so this example with John Morse, it makes it very clear for the visitor where they can find the information that they need. Perhaps most importantly, though, this third point that I want to stress, I can't emphasize this enough, make sure that your website is mobile friendly. More than half of all Google searches are done from mobile devices, and that includes smartphones, tablets, etc. So if your business is not mobile friendly, Google's search algorithm will penalize your website in a local search. You don't want that to happen. If you don't know whether it's mobile friendly, there's a simple tool that you can use to figure this out. So here's a link to Google's mobile friendly test. Write this down. Make sure that your website is passing the basic tests that will enable it to rank effectively when prospective clients are looking for businesses like yours. All you have to do is pull up this page and enter your website's address in the Enter URL search field. If you're failing this test, take proactive steps to address each of the issues that Google outlines for you. This is a free feature that Google offers, so I definitely recommend taking advantage of it. Next, another critical component to your website, one that's often overlooked, are reviews or testimonials. This is one of the most important pages on your website. Remember, 88% of people are trusting these online reviews as much as they're trusting that word of mouth recommendation. So reviews are going to help you build trust in your community and provide a sort of social proof that you are who you say you are. So please share your great customer testimonials and reviews on your website. You may have noticed reviews are the common thread across all of these important pages. Reviews are going to make or break your business, period. And you may be wondering, okay, so how do I get reviews? How do I get real ones? That's what I'm talking about when I mention this concept of investing in word of mouth marketing earlier in this session. I want to dive into that a little deeper today and talk about your three sort of basic buckets of your marketing investments. You're well aware of this already. There are tons of marketing options available to you today. But I want to simplify this for a second and look at your options in three broad categories or buckets as I've illustrated here. They are traditional advertising, they are your website, and it also includes word of mouth marketing. So think about how you allocate your limited marketing dollars and where you get a return. You need to make choices about how to market your business and decide where the trade-offs are. So what are each of these? You're familiar with advertising, both on and offline. This was the Yellow Pages years ago. Now it's SEO. It's AdWords. It includes display ads or Yelp ads. It's any product that gets the brand of your business out there. Your website's another familiar category. It's likely you've made investments here. I hope you have. You use advertising and offline or online word of mouth to direct prospective clients to your website to learn more, and hopefully they give you a call. So today we're going to talk about that third bucket, word of mouth. Specifically, I want to talk about how you can play a proactive role in growing word of mouth. After all, that's where many of you say your best customers come from. When we've talked about growing word of mouth in the past, it's typically been a conversation offline where clients or some of your community members have told each other about businesses like yours that they trust and that they'd recommend. Typically, this has been free. This is free advertising for you guys, right? You did great work and hoped that your happy clients would tell their friends. These days, and I hope this conversation has really underscored that for you, is that word of mouth has shifted online to the form of online reviews. They're more trusted than advertisements, and I hate to break it to you, but word of mouth is no longer always free. To get word of mouth working for your business, it requires a proactive investment in terms of both time and money. But the good news is that it's possible. Why is this important? Again, we talk about how reviews build trust, but they also build traffic. Think about how 5-star reviews are working for or against your business. You know, businesses with 5-star reviews are more likely to drive prospective clients to your business listing and to your website. These are numbers provided by Google, and they're powerful proof points. So you may be convinced at this point, and I hope you are. You may be wondering, how do you build that 5-star reputation? As I mentioned a minute ago, it's about implementing a process and making an investment. What you need to do is create a system to follow up with your clients, to thank them, and to ask about their experience. You have to be wondering, are they satisfied with the work that we've done for them this year, or is there a lingering issue that I need to fix with this relationship? You're not going to know either until you follow up with them, until you ask them. This needs to be an automatic part of wrapping up a client engagement. So I do want to pause and acknowledge for a second that this can be scary. If you haven't done this before, you may feel nervous to follow up with each and every one of your clients. You may be thinking, hey, what if my clients say something bad? What if I'm putting the idea to complain in their head? What if I'm bothering them just by asking? I want to tell you that it doesn't matter. You have to do this anyway. You have to signal to your clients that you care. And the good news in the end here is that if you're running an honest business, then the majority of your clients are satisfied. If you make it easy enough for them, they're going to start providing you with that 5-star feedback once you ask for it. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about the how. How do you engage with your clients? How does this work? And follow up with your clients and ask for feedback in a few different ways. Let's talk about a few of them. You can ask for feedback in person. Say you wrap up the client engagement and ask them then and there how you did for them. Conversely, you can give them a little time. You can call them on the phone at a later time after you're done with their project and ask them for their feedback then. You can send them an email or a text message just as well at a later date. You could also send them something in the mail, such as a postcard or a survey. Lots of different ways that you can engage with your client in real time, electronically, or through the mail. The important thing here is to determine what works best for your business. And perhaps more importantly, ask yourself, which of these methods are my clients most likely to respond to? The goal here really is to drive a response. Let me dig deeper here and talk about the advantages of some of these ways. The asking in person. You probably experienced this scenario in your own life already many times, going out to eat. The server checks in, asks how your food is tasting. You may get a cameo from the chef. In either scenario, you're put on the spot. You're asked to let them know what you think. So in this scenario, what do? Do you give them honest feedback, or do you tell them what you think that they want to hear? And then what happens next? You know, even if they hear great feedback from you and your party, what can they do about it? And the good word evaporates into thin air. And the good news about that experience hasn't translated anywhere else for others to hear about it. To think about this approach in the context of your own business and whether taking it upon yourself to ask your clients in person is going to do the job alone. There's some advantages to this. It's personal. You're making eye contact. The downside, though, is that the client may not feel comfortable telling you exactly what they think, or they may need some time to reflect on your working relationship. So let's think about another way. Perhaps you've done this already. And this is, when I'm talking about feedback forms here, I'm referring to paper feedback forms that are sent through the mail. This is especially common in the medical field. However, these surveys are sent after every medical visit, but they're long, they're impersonal. And in my experience, I've never filled one out, even though I've gotten great care. In my experience, it's been too big of an ask. And unfortunately, surveys in general, they don't have a high engagement rate because they're too impersonal. They're too long and too big of an ask. Those exact same reasons that they're not working for me. So I want to challenge you to think about a better way. Even if your clients are engaging with this kind of survey, this information is not translating to Google, to Facebook, or to your testimonial page. It doesn't provide that social proof that I talked about before, that you're trusted, that you provide a quality service. Let's talk about another way. Let's talk about technology. As compared with other options, it's immediate, but it's not too intrusive. So something like email, like this example, enables you to focus on other things, on helping clients and managing your business. So this is just one example. This is an example for how Broadly facilitates this follow-up process on behalf of local businesses. It can help you identify who's happy when they select yes, I will recommend, but also help you identify who's less than satisfied. It's collecting feedback from both types of clients, pushing the happy clients to a public page like your Google page or like your Yelp page, and enabling you to collect that unsatisfied feedback from clients and help keep that offline. Again, this is just one example of how you can follow up, engage with clients. The larger point I want to underscore here is that email, on the whole, makes it super easy. You're probably in your field collecting that client email information already. So this is just one way of wrapping up the client engagement and taking that extra step to understand what the experience is like on their end. So our recommendation is to adopt smart solutions like these to become more efficient with your marketing dollars and with your time. By putting a system like this in place, you'll start to get client reviews. And getting those reviews means you're going to start showing up higher in search results and ultimately stand out online. I do want to touch upon this issue of negative feedback, however. Perhaps you know from experience on your own pages or with other local business owners how much a negative review can hurt, especially when someone on Google or Yelp finds it helpful, or especially when it isn't taken down, when it's false. It hurts. So hiding from all of this is not an option. And if you haven't seen your page, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doing nothing can lead to very few reviews in general. Many times it's the people who don't have anything nice to say who are going to be the first to run online and write something negative about you or your business. So here's the deal. The best strategy to combat situations like these, like this negative review up top from Omar, is to generate more positive reviews. If you do that, those one-star reviews make less and less of an impact when they're surrounded by loads of 4- and 5-star reviews from your happy clients. More 5-star reviews on this example are going to push that star rating up from 3.7 up to something higher, and also start to bury that feedback from 3 months ago. So think about that approach if it's something you are dealing with today on one of your public listings. Because at the end of the day, reviews are driving revenue. Yes, even in your business. If people are looking online, whether they're going in cold, like that example I showed you earlier, or whether they're getting a recommendation from their friends or family to use your services, they're going to go online and find out more about that client experience. People are learning from Google, from Yelp, and professionals like you are noticing a measurable difference once they invest in products like Broadly or a broad strategy overall to generate great 5-star client feedback. We talked about a lot today, but what I outlined are some of the fundamental things that you need to do to ensure that your tax prep service or your accountancy is showing up where your clients are looking for you. The goal here is to become a 5-star business. Make sure your reputation matches the services that you provide. You want to show up. You want to stand out online. If you do, you can attract the types of clients you want. You can charge prices for the services that your 5-star business is commanding. And you can establish your accountancy or your tax prep service as the premium choice in your area. So I hope this was useful and that it was clear that feedback and reviews are the currency of the internet today, and that you need to invest in a process and perhaps technology to make this work for you and for your business. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, I'm leaving some time for questions and answers. So please use that questions field in GoToWebinar to ask me what's on your mind, and I will respond to that in real time. While we wait for questions, I'll just give you a little bit of background on Broadly if you're not familiar with us. We are not an advertising company, but what we've built is a system for generating great word of mouth in the form of online reviews and getting those positive reviews to Google, to Yelp, to Facebook, and also to your website. We also keep that negative feedback offline and get that to you privately. You get back to your clients personally. You get the opportunity to make things right. So if you'd like to learn more about that, we can take a look at your pages. We can give you some pointers on how you can improve. That alone is at least worth a couple minutes of your time. So until then, I want to dive into your questions. I have just one question so far from Rick. This is a very popular one. I get it on almost every webinar that I host, and it is on the topic of negative reviews and what you should do to respond. Thank you for asking, Rick, and thanks for joining today. My recommendation is to respond to every negative review that you get. Ideally, respond to every review, and it doesn't require a whole lot of verbiage. You can say thank you to the positive reviews, but the negative reviews require a more nuanced approach. What I recommend is that you acknowledge the issue, but don't go too deep into details. You're never going to win in a dispute between yourself as a business owner and the client, even if it's not a real client, and that does happen from time to time. So the steps: acknowledge the issue, apologize, and offer to resolve the situation offline. Provide your email address, your phone number, enable them to get in touch with you. If you have that person's contact info, I recommend also stating that you're going to follow up with them. The importance here is not just to emphasize that you're taking steps to make things right with that one client, but also showing everyone else who visits your page that your clients are important to you and that it's important to resolve any situation that may be lingering or less than satisfactory for that client. So I hope that helps to answer your question, Rick. And again, thanks for coming. I have not seen other questions come through the panel, but please feel free to jot down my contact info here. See my phone number and my email address. I'm happy to answer your questions offline. If you'd like to learn more about a system for putting this into place, visit broadly.com. Thanks again for joining today, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.